Temperatures continue in our forecast. Now, despite the frigid temperatures outside, it's still unsafe to be out on the ice. This week on News 10, we shared a man who died falling through the ice on Grass Lake in Jackson County. Michigan DNR Conservation Officer Wesley Butler now joins Mid-Michigan Matters to remind you to be safe out on the ice. CO Butler, is ice ever safe to be out on?
No. Unfortunately not. A lot of people will ask, what's a good number? But there's really never a safe number. There's always a risk being out there. With that being said, I don't want to steer people away from getting out there and recreating and ice fishing, but it's always something that you need to consider. And regardless of the thickness of the ice, the temperature outside, the time of year, how long a lake has been frozen over, all those are factors that play into determining whether or not it's safe, but those are never like, okay, it's this thickness, it's safe for me to go out, because a lot of people, there's people that spearfish out there and they'll cut out a big section of ice, and when they do that, that's enough room for a full-grown adult to fall through. And if that's recently just frozen over, someone could fall through that pretty easily if you're not being careful. So it's just things to keep in mind. A lot of people will have an auger or a pole that they can stick through the ice to check how thick the ice is. And when they use that, they'll walk out maybe 5-10 yards at a time, check the ice, see if it's safe, and then walk another 10-20 yards, check to see if it's safe. That way you can test what the thicknesses are at certain points in the lake, so you're not just walking out there blindly.
You want to check the ice frequently is what you're saying.
Correct.
And using that auger or that pick to just check the depth as you
Correct.
go on. Now, as people head out onto the ice, what should they be doing to take precautions?
Well, there's several things that I take with me out in the ice that I personally take with me. Not saying that you have to, but a couple of the things I never leave without these in my pack. These are ice picks, handheld ice picks. These particular ones are called Pick of Life. And these will get you out of the ice if that situation were to arise. And the way these work is you just hold them in your hand. So if you fall through the ice, the best thing to do would be to turn towards the direction you were coming from. So say you were walking northbound on a lake, you would want to turn southbound because that's the direction of the strongest ice. You would stick these in the ice, and then you're going to want to kick your back legs vigorously, and that's going to bring you from this position to a horizontal position, and that's going to allow you to pull yourself up and out of the ice a lot easier. So that's one of the tools that I use. So another thing would be a throw bag. So I bring this out in the ice with me every single time I go out there. If someone falls through the ice, this is a tool that I can use to pull them up and out of the ice. And what this is a bag that's full of just wound up rope with a flotation device inside of it. So I can hold on to one end and throw this out in the ice. The victim can grab onto this and I can pull them up out of the ice. So I would recommend people to bring these out with them, especially if you're fishing with a partner. They can use this to pull you up and out of the ice.
And like you mentioned, the rope is all rolled up in there, so if you don't want to go out onto the ice, you can throw it a far distance.
If it's not safe for me, I can throw it to someone from shore.
And then you have the life jacket right here to put on before you go out onto the ice, just
Correct.
to take those extra steps.
Yep, so life jacket, not required by law that you have it with you on frozen ice, but it is something very important to have with you because this is going to keep you above water. I personally have what's called a float coat, and it's basically a coat with a life jacket built into it. So not only is it warm, if you fall through the ice, that's going to keep you above water. First call 911. They're going to get law enforcement or EMS there as quickly as possible to check out, how you're doing, and put on dry clothes as quickly as possible. Get warm fluids inside of you just to warm up as quickly as possible.
CO Butler, thank you so much for joining me in Michigan Matters and helping us to share that advice on how to stay safe out on the ice if people so choose to.
Guess who's back?